Hello, all you crazy unshavenauts. Welcome to episode 15 of the Unshaven Rant-Cast. I am your host, the well-bearded Mark Allen Fishman. I am joined today with my brothers from other mothers, the incomparably goateed Matt Wright,
There's less beard now.
and the always iron-stubbled Kyle Nepper.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Thank you for remembering that this is both an audio and visual entertainment podcast. Before we get into all of the unshaven news and the views and the fun stuff, I want to make sure. Apparently, I read an article right before we recorded on how to do podcasting better. So I have to
Ooh,
say at the top
share.
of the show and at the bottom of the show, remember to like and subscribe and give us a review and follow us on Spotify and YouTube. Make sure we have right now we have more subscribers than people in this company, so that's good.
Ooh. And if you found this podcast for the first time and don't think you'll listen to it again, mess with the algorithm and like us anyway.
Yes, please. Then unsubscribe and go away. We don't care. Actually, we care a lot. So
We care a ton.
we do. Actually, I'm going to make a challenge with reward. So if anybody shares this out when it hits, I don't know, it might be a week or so from the time we're actually recording this to the time I actually get it live, but when you see episode 15, if you share it on social media and tag me and it results in a new subscriber, I will give you a Poke Mashup custom. You choose, I design.
There you go. You can put Mark to work, everybody.
Yeah, put me to work.
Anything you want.
Seriously, get freaky. I don't care.
Anything you want.
Yes. Also, as I was reading, apparently this is how Gen Alpha does things. If you just make stuff up that you want to have happen, there's a special term for it. I forget I'm already losing the name for it. It's like, oh my God, it's a magical term, like when you're trying to conjure, oh,
Okay.
whatever it is. So this podcast, of course, is sponsored by the new Fox film Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters July 26th. Make sure you see it. It's going to be a great movie. We appreciate the plug. So thank you to Ryan Reynolds for sending us that check. I'm not sure where I can cash it because it's in rubles, but we're going to try.
Are you
Manifesting.
Are you manifesting it?
Yes,
Are you manifesting
we're
this?
manifesting sponsorship. There you go.
Cap.
Okay.
Cap.
I think you got to aim
No cap.
lower.
No
No
cap.
I think you got to aim lower. SodaStream might be more likely in our future than Ryan Reynolds, but
This podcast sponsored by Timu.
you know,
You know what? You know what? I think we might be up Team Wheelhouse.
yeah, we're Timu friendly.
All right.
We can dream that level. Yeah.
Hey, if you're listening to this and you want to sponsor the podcast, we will accept all offers. You want to sponsor an episode? It could cost you as little as a penny.
We're cheap.
We're a
cheap
cheap date.
I promised Unshaven Comics a plate of cornbread if they would sponsor me on their podcast. Where's
Those
my
corn
cornbread?
muffins were dry.
Sponsor my name.
Make me.
Okay.
You know, it's funny because Mark, it's funny because like at the beginning when you were talking about, I read an article and I'm supposed to say this. The way you said it, I'm just like, and now don't forget, folks. And in my head, it's immediately once the price is right to spay and neuter your pets. Just
Does Drew Carey still do that?
Yes.
I know
Yeah.
that Bob Barker's thing. Does Drew Carey remind people to control the
Yeah.
pet population?
He carried that on for Barker.
Oh, good for him.
I
I've not
apologize,
watched
by
The
the way.
Price
I
is
don't know
Right
if
in
my
years.
microphone just picked up the ASMR of me pouring a bunch of water, but if
I
it
didn't hear
did, cool. Somebody throw me up 5 seconds so that we can trigger the Unshaven news. Thank you very much. For those who join us on YouTube, it's a really fun game to play as Matt tries to figure out whether or not he wants to use his middle finger. You can actually see the gears turning as he's calculating whether or not he'd like to do it.
It's a little internal
It's
game
even-
of
it's
Russian
even-
roulette we watch happen.
And it's even funner to see the gears turn in Mark's head when he's just like, "Don't do it, please, don't do it. You're gonna do it this cast, aren't you? You're gonna do it this one."
Seriously. It's true. It's true. 30 years of friendship, you pick it up. So, okay, Unshaven News, let's get into it. We just posted the Vegas episode, and you will have listened to that, and you heard about Vegas, you heard about Traverse City, and now it was time for Kyle and I to leave the state, and we went to Charlotte, North Carolina, which I did confirm can be called North Kakalaki.
Why?
To
What?
Where would?
What?
Yeah,
What is
it's an
this?
old timey term.
he said that like 5 times, and by the fifth, on the way there, and by the fifth time, he's like, "Did you just make that up? Because that sounds like some Jeremy Piven nonsense. What is
Did
this?"
you just manifest North Kakalaki?
I absolutely did not. The term was used in the 1940s. Oh, here you go. North Kakalaki is a nickname for North Carolina that may have originated in 1937. So there you go. Anyway,
Well,
we went to
great.
Charlotte. We went to Charlotte for HeroesCon.
Informative.
Just going OG on there. There we okay, very nice. Okay.
Hey, unlike some broadcasts earlier this week, we fact check.
Let's not get
Hey,
Oh,
that's as far as I'm taking it. So anyway,
I,
we
I,
went.
I was sticking away from that. I was figuring like one of you two would have probably brought that up. I was keeping away. So
I did. There it is. Anyway, we went to HeroesCon in Charlotte, and we're not going to get into like a 20-minute tirade over this. I'll start it off by saying it was a great show overall. Met our
Yes.
expectations. Maybe, dare I say, exceeded them. There were a couple of bad points that we will share, and you guys can share in our folly, but there were some really good points too. Before I start going through my bullet points, Kyle, any overarching thoughts, feelings?
the crowd was great. I mean, one thing we noticed is this was absolutely a comic creators convention. There was very heavy on creators and small indie press. It compared to some of the shows we've been to that blew them away. So truly a lot of other comic creators, artists there, not a lot of like toys or even t-shirts or anything like that. It was very
Really?
high percentage comic stuff. Even like in the quote vendor booths was mainly people with like long boxes of stuff to sell or trades. Very few of the, come on over and buy my, knitted scarves, stuff like that. So
I
very
would
heavy
dare
on actual
say,
comic production.
I dare say that the artist booths outnumbered vendor booths.
Easily 3 to 1.
Yeah,
Easily.
because the entire like 2/3 of the show floor is Artist Alley.
Yeah.
And
It
then
was
there's
huge.
like a special indie island, and then the rest is vendor area. But yeah, Kyle and I both took long walks through the show floor. Both actually, it's part of our bad points here. We went looking for our kids to find some toys and stuff, and honestly, there really weren't. There were toys, but they were like vintage 1990s
There-
action figures and stuff
there were
that
like
my kids
two or
wouldn't enjoy.
Yeah, I saw like 2 or 3 of those from where I was when I got to leave a whole pint of myself in in the state, or rather in the convention center. They had a blood donation area where you could donate blood and you'd get like a Visa gift card. So they were running it for the first 2 days of the show for about $50 a day. And the third day, I don't know if it was just because the last day or if they were getting, let's juice the numbers, they bumped it to 75. So I got a $75 Visa gift card from a company, and I can't remember their name, but they are clearly only in like North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Because I looked online afterwards, it's like, if this place is around, I wouldn't mind donating more if it's going to be this kind of payout. But nope, wrong part of the
Jeez,
country for us.
man, you went for the flashback. Did you just kind of like hop on the chair and be like, "You want to go for the third hole? That was the good one."
I used to donate blood all the time for people who don't know me. Heartland Blood Center here in Illinois. Well, down in Illinois. But the mornings were slow. I think Mark and I can agree that pretty much every day, the first hour or so it was a ramp up period. Took time for people to make their way to where we were.
People definitely
wonder
kind of
they- no
casually
wonder they-
flowed in.
Yeah, no wonder they probably juiced it to 75. The last day was Father's Day. They were probably like, "Anybody, please."
That too.
That probably did it too. Yeah.
Sunday was Sunday by and large was pretty pathetic, but we did well. All right, let me cover the bullets that I did write down. There are two bad points I want to jokingly talk about. The first one, as I said, Kyle and I both had to get some toys for the children, and recognizing on Father's Day, mind you, with no toys really in the show floor, we decided to go to Walmart to grab them up. So I tossed
It was on the
Walmart
way.
into my Google Maps. We found one very close between us and between the show and where our hotel was, which
Yeah.
wasn't far away. This was a newer layout Walmart, I want to say.
Oh yeah, I know what you're gonna talk about. Yeah, yeah. The layout was okay.
Yeah, I mean it was unfamiliar in parts, but we ended up, we found it. We found the toys we needed. The funny thing is, as we're going back to the toys, we pass by the entertainment, TV center, and there's
Hmm.
like a line of five people getting checked out there, and they have no electronics. And I mean, I didn't really think anything of it at the time. I was just like, huh, okay.
I didn't even notice.
And anyway, we picked up our toys, we made our way to the front, and as we're making our way to the front, we started. You can start seeing like which checkout lanes are open, and in the whole store, I want to say there were three.
Yeah, we counted at one point. There were three,
Yeah. Kyle
and
and
then
I, I'll begrudge you. It's for 35, 45 minutes.
yeah, it was about 37 because I remember we stood in line for about 5 minutes, and then I said, you know what, I'm putting a timer on. I want to know, and it
Yeah.
came out at 32, and we figured I waited about five to start, so about 37 minutes.
37 minutes standing in line to check out with our toys. We felt terrible because the guy in front of us, who waited the same 35 minutes, had ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or by the time we
oh,
were leaving, soup.
So we had plenty of time to talk about it and look at it because there was a
put it back, man. Put it back.
there was
Yeah.
a self-checkout section that had like three like self-checkout things that was moving quickly, but we weren't allowed to use it because it was strictly for people that have the Walmart app. And
And pay.
apparently and pay. Yeah, it's
You have to
apparently
be a
there's
Walmart Plus member to use that
yeah.
aisle.
So the idea is you scan all your stuff in the app as you shop, and then you go to the self-checkout, enter your code in, and then pay for it there.
It
So you
was
got to
awful.
have the app and you got to be registered and ready to pay for it that way. And
Yeah.
it's the whole because we looked at it and this fits with what we've talked about or what people have been seeing happen at Walmart, where Walmart's shutting down the self-checkouts because of all the rampant theft of people sneaking stuff out when they did that, but they're shutting down and like having self-checkout to the membership stuff, but they're not putting people back on the registers. So the solution is if we create enough bottleneck, more people will get the app and they can get done quickly that way if they want to.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
The other thing
You
that
know, I just want to throw in there, like,
please.
with all the space and everything else, and all the unemployment in this country that people need jobs. It's just like, is it really going to hurt your bottom line to hire a couple extra people to be just cashiers? Which
No,
I know it's
no,
not,
it's not.
it's not. And I know the answer to that. I already know that answer, but I'm just waiting for like the point in time where it's like, they have the one cashier, they have lines out going into the aisles and everything else that I've seen, you've seen, we've all seen it, going into Walmart's, even with the self checkout, and they're going to have like one kid or two people for like a checkout, and then there's going to be a tragedy where a fire marshal is going to come in and be like, why are you blocking the aisles? And somebody's going to have to answer for the fact it's just like, well, we only have two. Well, why can't you hire more cashiers? You have plenty of space, you have plenty of room. You're creating a fire hazard, literally creating a fire hazard by blocking aisles and exits and entrances.
Because every other system is failing too. Walmart's way of doing it with the self-checkouts obviously didn't work out. Amazon, their stores they had where it was the whole thing of if you're a Prime
Mm-hmm.
grocery store, whatever it is, the idea of the cart checks or scans your thing as you go, and then it just charges your account. They're shutting down most of those. So
Yeah, well, when
obviously
that one
that
dropped,
system's
I
out.
think most of us looked at it and said, you couldn't pay me money to try something like that.
No, I try not to use
It's
Amazon for anything in any capacity unless I have no other choice. But the
yeah.
fact is that system is not proving it doesn't work. The traditional grocery store system is the only one that's seemed to have had the most steady success. But whatever. Next thing,
Yes.
next pain point.
Right. Moving on to our other
Yeah,
old man
for our younger
gripes.
audience, sorry, old man ramblings. So
What? Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry, kids. But that's why you're here. You like seeing us turn into old bitter grandpas a week at a time. So
My job's just to
next,
turn everything into anti-capitalism. But yeah,
there
continue.
you go. The other thing I want to complain about. So Friday night. First of
Uh,
all, Friday for the show between Kyle and I, it was a long day because we did setup in the morning, did the full 8.5 hour show day, and then afterwards, we're pretty wiped. So it's time to go and get dinner. Now, again, I was just trying to find a spot that wasn't a chain restaurant. So I popped in and, I don't know enough about Charlotte, to be honest. And I knew that Kyle would not appreciate the two restaurants that we were there at 10 years ago. So I was like, oh, we'll just find something close
oh,
by. Yeah, I know.
oh,
I know.
yeah.
So one popped up
Said it out
this
loud.
yeah, this Hickory Grill and Tavern. So, and I'm sorry to name drop, but anyway, we went to this place. We walked in, and it had like Applebee's vibes when we walked in.
It actually reminded
Ish.
me. It actually reminded me more of what's it called? Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, I
That's
suppose.
that's kind
Yeah,
of
I
what made
mean,
me think of when we
it
got in.
was the thing is the whole restaurant was one big room, and from the entrance you could see the bar all the way against the back wall, and then to the back left corner there's a stage, a little stage, and as we're walking in and requesting a table, we can hear a band tuning up. And we sat down, we ordered our soft drinks, and all I'm thinking is, please, dear God, maybe it's just karaoke or something. And right as the drinks arrive, the band fires up, and it's, hey, everybody, it's Friday night here at the Hickory Grill and Tavern, and we are so excited for an evening of great rock and roll. And Kyle and I shared a look that was quintessentially, we're both old white dudes and we're too polite to just ask for the tab and leave. So I guess we'll just be here. And
Oh,
Yeah. So
uh
yeah,
take it away.
yeah. No, it was what it was. It was the attempts to play music. I mean, the band wasn't terrible.
They're
The
fine. They
band
were
wasn't
fine.
terrible, but we were tired. We wanted to sit down and have a meal and, maybe talk about the day and what was going on. And then suddenly it's being in a room filled with loud music to the point where if I want the person on the other side of the table to hear me, I'm gonna have to scream. And I
Wasn't gonna
have to be able
happen.
to talk and sell books for 2 more days. So that's not gonna
this is
happen.
boys. This is where you need me. This is where it would have been like, Matt. Does your bar sense tingle on this one? Oh, it's karaoke. It's band night, boys. We gotta go. We gotta go.
Hence the lessons we learned. Now, I'd say insult to injury. First of all, or second of all, Kyle and I had to order by pointing sharply at the menu, and
That is true.
both Kyle and I wanted to eat a vegetable. So we noticed that they had a side salad,
This one.
quite literally, and
Basically.
it said side salad $4,
Side
and
salad,
Mm.
exchange your side dish for side salad was $4. And
right,
then I noticed, and I think you did as well, Mark, I can get a burger for 20, substitute a side salad for like 4, and then I could just buy a side of fries for 2.99 from the side dish count or side dish thing.
right. So
Perfect.
Okay.
we try yell pointing this out. And we both got our Caesar side salads. We
They
both
were meh.
got, yeah, we both
Way
got
too much
our,
dressing.
yeah, a lot of dressing. We both got our sandwiches. I definitely did not get what I ordered, but it was fine. And then came the bill. Kyle and I each paid north of $40 for a
Yeah, I
sandwich,
Eh,
fries, drink, and salad.
I would bet cash. The person taking our order, there were two of them. So there was, and one of them was very young. I would bet cash. They were a trainee and this was their first week. I am convinced. I've waited tables. It's like there's no other reason to have two surfers come into your table where one
Right.
stands while the other one actually takes our order. It's there, someone's training.
Somebody's
So
training.
Yeah.
yeah, my guess is they either completely missed what we told them, or I hope not, but they might have purposely entered it in to get us what we asked for in the most expensive way possible. Because looking at it, our dinner salads, our side dish would have had to have been entered as a whole dinner salad on top of our burger meal. So it's uh it and
We learned our
now we're in the
lesson.
position the band hasn't stopped. I mean, this is 30, 40 minutes later, they're hitting their stride. So it's the whole, if we want to fix this, we're gonna have to yell explain both of us on what's going on, and then see how much longer we sit in this noise to see if they fix it. So it's the whole, basically spend an extra $8 and get out of here, or fight over it and lose our voice and our ears and our hearing.
Right.
Quick question about the band. Original songs or covers?
Covers, all
Covers.
covers.
Covers. Yeah, I mean, and you said it yourself, it wasn't too bad, but yeah, I see how you guys went on that. So
It just put it this way: if you're not in the greatest mood, hearing a white dude do his impression of Prince singing
no,
"Kiss," there you go.
That is
which
the proper
actually,
response.
I think I saw a TikTok today saying something about that song turns 40 years old this year, and I just kind of had to do one of those like,
Hush, hush. Okay,
yeah,
two good points, and we'll get out of here.
okay.
First and foremost, the in and out experience of the parking and convention center could not have been better. I think it's the best we've ever had.
Yeah, Mark and I literally got there the first day as like, oh, we turn one corner and it's right over there, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Roll up. As soon as we walk in the venue, there's a big sign that says Artist Alley registration and badges here. I know at least once I looked over at you and said, it can't be this easy, right? It's
We've been
this
hurt so many times.
we have
No,
been
no. There's
misled
one of
and
us
turned
goes up, one
around
of us goes this way, one of us goes this way, one stays here, and then one of
every
us is
time.
right, and then we got to go this way and then back this way.
Nope.
I would be willing to say this was the easiest check-in we've ever had. We've
Yeah.
never had a time without one of us getting turned around or lost or a terrible parking choice or something. But it really was like tumblers in a lock. It was like everything lined up this time.
Well, it was
Nice.
good. And like I
Nice.
said, we met our sales goal. I will say this much as a shameless plug. If you want to know the one other giant item that occurred at this show, you'll have to go to popculturesquad.com and read my article all about it. It's pretty funny. There's an anecdote in there that will live
Wait,
in
wait,
infamy.
Oh, I know what
wait.
you're talking
Are
about.
you telling me this whole podcast is just clickbait for your article?
It's not all clickbait, but it's 67%.
60. Oh, okay.
All
I'll
right.
get that.
Okay. Beyond that, the only other unshaven news we want to make sure that you know is, hey, are you living or anywhere near the Baltimore, Maryland area? Then come out and see us at Baltimore Comic Con, September 20th through the 22nd. By happenstance, I did the research. We are staying in the exact same hotel we stayed at there 9 years ago.
No.
Wow.
Yeah,
What?
it's the exact same one. I went back and checked. This
I
is
wasn't there.
Yeah, you weren't, but this is after, by the way, this is after I had secured our hotel. And again, we learn new things every day. Like, don't listen to hotels.com when Google reviews are
Nope.
right there, because
Nope.
I picked a hotel that seemingly, according to hotels.com, was generally fine. I put it into Google. I sorted by most the newest reviews first,
Okay.
and the first 8 reviews said seventh circle of hell, place isn't updated, had my car jacked.
Oh my God.
No and then hey, if none of that worked for you, the Kyle Nepper deal breaker, 7 people in a row confirmed, no breakfast since pandemic.
Oh, see, and their site had pictures of a fully stocked breakfast thing. So
Yeah,
that's
Dealer folds. Dealer folds.
there you go. But come
just
see us at a decent hotel. So
Yes.
stepping backwards for a second. The hotel in North Carolina was fine.
yeah,
They did have breakfast, and I did go get a waffle one day. We didn't really eat there though, for the most part. We we had some adventures, but we'll save that for next time.
there you go. So
Ooh.
that was the Unshaven news. Let us, Kyle, get your D6 ready, and somebody give me a fist of 5.
I've got the big D6
Ooh.
full of D6s.
Ooh. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, that's fine. I knew it's doing that. As soon as the pinky went down, like, here it goes. Here it goes. All right. So go ahead, give that a roll, and let's take it over.
2.
Matt, you're first.
Oh man, so many beautiful things to talk about. So I guess I'll just say in conjunction, while Mark and Kyle were going to North Carolina, my family went to Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, for a lovely, lovely little vacation. And I have to commend Wisconsin, at least the far north area, close, like way out there. It was cicada free, much to the joy of my son. Like he was, he's been having such a hard time this year with like that Brood X or whatever it is that came out. Like it's just been freaking him out and everything else. So that far north, it's cicada free. There was nothing. There was no noise of it. There was nothing humanly possible. In fact, it was so far north into Wisconsin. It was we instead of making the left at Eau Claire to head towards Minneapolis, we kept going straight past Chippewa Falls to the point where, like, Mark, you remember when we went off the highway in Michigan, the main road, and it was like it wasn't too bad, and then probably within 2 turns, it felt like a really rural dirt highway kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was that far north into Wisconsin. So it was definitely it was a fun time. Lovely place, Shell Lake. If anybody has been up in the area or wants to take a nice little vacation, it is a beautiful little town. But it is a very much a one-horse town. There is no stoplight in the middle of the town. It is you blink and
Roundabout?
miss it. A little, but I mean, like it's just it was very nice, lovely, beautiful time. So, congrats, Wisconsin. You win that round.
All right. Well, that's pretty simple.
On
By the
behalf
way,
of the state, I thank you.
yeah. And
Oh, no, I'm not thinking you. Never you.
Uh, I understand, but as an ambassador, as the one person here who lives in Wisconsin, I feel I can speak to it.
by the way,
You're
fun
a Kenosha.
fact.
You're practically Illinois.
I would just like to point out that another great nickname of states, by the way, since we're naming them this time, you can call Wisconsin Wiskakalaki. Don't look it up.
And I will. I will. I can't wait to hear from the Wizkakalaki native up there, sir.
Kyle, why don't you go ahead and give that a roll?
Okay. Going again. That's a 5.
Hey, it's me. Okay. I'm going to save the other one for after my second roll. So, yeah, as if you are following me on Facebook more than anything else, I have apparently just been addicted to finishing my Poke Mashup project, if you will.
Hey,
So
productivity.
yeah, I don't know why. You know what? It's such low-hanging fruit. Since doing the Homewood Village Art Fair, soon to just be known as the Great Flood, followed by Michigan, followed
Which,
by
by the way,
HeroesCon.
just a quick in there and a quick side thing. Was the art fair this year? Was that was run by the village, wasn't it? Or was it by us? Usually in the past, it's been like sponsored by like a local business or whatnot. But
The
Greg was
village,
telling me he was telling me this year it was actually run by the village.
the Art and Garden Fair, previously had been quote unquote owned and operated by one of the local shops. Yes, their name It escapes me,
Lulabelle.
sadly. Maybe it's at them, Lulabelle,
Yeah, Lulabelle, I believe.
something like that. Maybe. No, that's yeah, maybe yeah, that's them. Anyway, they had sold the event back to the village, and the village will be running it from now on.
Okay, no, I just wanted to double check.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so like I was saying, with all of the recent shows that we've been doing, I've been doing well with the Poke mashups, but knowing that we're going to be going to Baltimore, I'm going to have a full table. I'm going to be bringing all four of my racks,
Oh,
and
wow.
I have every intention to fill every space. And it's over. Once I'm done at that point, unless I truly feel like I'm going to replace something, and off the top of my head, there's only one or two that literally have just never sold ever, and I might want to consider just redoing them or finding some other popular character to replace them with. Anyway, I have been a machine just trying to crank out as many of these as I possibly can. I've got one more that's like ready for color, and then I've got three final spots left. And at that point, I will have 96 designs, and the cards, as far as I'm concerned, are going to remain in their slots, but I'm going to pursue a smaller subset of posters and stickers. I'm still working out which ones are going to make their way there. Excuse me, which ones are going to make their way up into those other avenues and price point. I'm just trying to figure
Well, I
out
would
like
say,
what makes the most sense.
I mean, obviously, you want to go for the ones that you've reprinted probably the most would probably be your probably should be your first picks. I mean, those are the big sellers.
I mean that is clearly the plan, but to what end? How many posters do I want to actually stock? Is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 20? And then
Mhm.
same with stickers. Like how many of those do I really want? The other thing I was considering with the posters, instead of just making individual posters, could I do some like put all the anime characters on one poster, put all of the Batman universe on one, put the Justice League together, put some of the Marvel people together. I've definitely done these kind of in these quasi sets, but I don't know if that's more appealing than, from the more capitalistic side. I'm sorry, Kyle, to just taking the same design, blowing it up, calling it a day. Um, I don't know. I'm still kind of toying with some of that. And the other option, of course, is to try to do, well, I've already proven the mega poster, no one cares about. Too big, no one gives a crap. But if I keep at 11 by 17 and put literally every single one of them that I have, all 96 plus on one poster, they'll all be teeny tiny, but maybe that might be a novelty.
It
So,
worked for the Simpsons poster I had in college.
exactly. So, anyway,
which which they've come out with like three other updates to that thing. That thing's huge
Oh, I'm
now.
sure. Yeah.
it's pretty ridiculous. I'm looking forward to finishing it up, and we'll see kind of what happens. Obviously it's still pretty self-sustaining, and I think as a company we like having extra space. So if
Agreed.
so long as it like can contribute back and we can make sure financially it always makes sense. But far be it from me to be beholden. My goal that I've already earmarked for 2025 is help Matt make more money, because I fear as if I took his initial challenge and I have turned it into Frankenstein's monster.
Now, the next step is to be able to see if you can truly make it self-perpetuating. Put the table, put the spiritual of the cards up, and don't sit at it. Just put a box with some small change in it and the pricing next to it and say, pay as you take. And if you have more money than cards at the end of the day, you truly don't need to do anything.
Is that what? Didn't they do that in Clerks? Like, didn't they just leave up a box and just say like, you're on the honor system? Like,
Yeah, they left the box up, and then somebody asked his girlfriend, I can't remember her name, asked him, "Aren't you worried that people are going to rob you?" And he said, "No, paranoia takes care of it. People see empty store, no cash on the table. They assume they're being watched."
I'll take it under advisement. Oh, hey, just got back from the lab. No. The answer's no.
Think it's worth trying, but it's up to you. It's your
Hey,
cards.
hey, I'm up.
You know,
Hey,
you know what? You know what? You know what? How about a controlled experiment of just if the table's right next to us, and then we all just cram it on one side. Mark just keeps it right there, so he's like within reach. But then it's just kind of, it's still like he just kind of mostly ignores it and just puts up the sign, and we see what happens.
hold on. Let's see. Just no, nope. Answer's still no.
The
But
answer still no.
yeah, that's
Did you,
thanks.
did you have
Thanks
to
for
get the
playing.
magic dice? Did you have to get the magic the
No,
magic eight ball dice?
I got the
Just shook
report.
that guy up. Nope,
I
doesn't
went
does
back
not
to the
look good
Magic
in your
lab.
dice.
future.
Should Mark try this experiment? Evens, yes. Odds, no. Okay. Oh, it's a 6. That's an emphatic yes, Mark. Dice says yes.
Okay.
Oh, I get my own countdown. Okay.
You do.
Uh,
You do. That's exclusive. That's exclusive there for the YouTube audience. Kyle, why don't you go ahead and take us out to the
sure.
next item?
Right, next item. It's my turn for a news thing. I'm not going to do any of the ones that I wrote in our pre. We set up one of these, and I basically set up nothing but stuff to mess with Mark, because I knew he was reading them. I'm going to do one of those. I'm going to do one of those things that I often regret because I'm terrible with names. I'm going to do a shout out to a artist that I'm a friend of, or well, a fan of, that I've been following and looking at their stuff for years, exclusively online and never met in person. So I'm almost certainly going to get his name wrong. One of the artists there was Mike Mayhack. People may be familiar with him. He does the Batgirl and Supergirl, Super Best Friends. He does a series of comics about them, basically just being teenage girls who are friends and super cool with each other. He was also the creator behind Cleopatra in Space, popular kids series books that got turned into a cartoon series. And he was at the show. He was there with his, I think, his wife and a bunch of friends, and they were running the table. And I got to tell him, I've been a fan of your stuff for so long. I love the holiday themed Supergirl, Batgirl mini comics that you do. They're terrific, and I absolutely want to buy something from your table. So, my wife and I, like many people with a kid in elementary school, are desperate to find things that he can read. So I picked up a copy of Cleopatra in Space for my kid, even though we got him toys from Walmart too. It's the whole comic convention. Got to get him a book if I can. So I did buy him the book, and he read it. And after looking at it no less than 4 times, might have been more, but minimum 4 times, and saying, "I don't think I'm going to like this, Dad. I don't think I'm going to want to read this. Maybe I'll read it for a minute, but I don't want to read this." He had it for his book for nightly reading time. He read it. He read it. I came at the end of the 20 minutes and just asked him, "What'd you think?" And he's like, "I really liked it. Can I read more?" As it turns out, found out yesterday, my local library's got the complete series, so he's on book 2 now. And
Nice.
on top of that, mentioning my art, I did also buy a glare, nice print of Supergirl, Batgirl. Glare, glare. There's less glare. So showing it off.
Nice, very nice.
So I'll be
Yeah.
getting this framed and up on my wall of stuff in my office that I can look at and enjoy later this week.
Nice.
Hooray. All right.
Shout
Well,
out to Michaels for having the odd-sized frames for this. 11 by 16 is not as common as you would think.
there you go. Well,
But
that sounds good. Matt, do you want to just let's keep it going? Same cycle.
Oh man. Uh, I don't know. Like I could flip a coin on this one. Uh,
I would like to hear
kind of the
number
one.
2. Looking at your list,
For those that don't know, on the list of putting in there, I went in this order. It was, Wisconsin has no cicadas. Matt saw a dead body, and then the third thing I put on there for my token um, was what's your summer jam? You gotta end it light.
yeah, that thing we got to talk about number 2 there. Been looking at this whole time is like,
Yeah, well, might as well. A little bit of a downer, but was definitely it took place in Wisconsin, in my lovely town that I was vacationing in at Shell Lake. It like I had said before, it's not a big town. There's paths everywhere. There's a path that goes around the lake, and all that stuff. Everything's within walkable distance. The house that I rented with my brother was very. It felt like a TARDIS house. Like you from the outside looking, you're just like, oh, it's not that bad, and then you went in, and it kept going. It's just one of those kind of weird houses. It's just like holy shit. There's like rooms within rooms and all this other such. Um, so
Are we all playing
we
this game now? Like, where is the dead body going to show up? Is it in the TARDIS house? Is it around the lake?
It's a small town, so there's just, the dead body is just outside the donut shop because that's where the morgue is.
yeah. Oh no, and it showed up in the lake. So it's like a 3-minute walk into town, like along a bike path that's there. And one of the days, it was just, the you, you're not going to get winters every single day, a week spending in a place. The temperature is going to vary, weather's going to vary, all that
This
fun
time of
stuff.
year, yeah.
Yeah. So, just one of the days, it was just like it got down to like lower lower 70s, upper 60s, and it's just like, yeah, that lake water was a little bit too cold, like on that day, and we decided not to go into it. Obviously, there were people on the public beach that decided they wanted to go into it and whatnot. So, after spending the afternoon with my nieces and nephews and my kids and my brother, having a good time playing volleyball and kickball and and the whatnot. Uh, they drove back to the house in one car. My my son went with his cousin and in another car so that they could get their swimsuits. The kids decided that they were going to go swimming last minute. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to walk back because it's a nice day and a good breeze, whatever. And as I'm walking back, I hear I hear a siren behind me, and I'm passing the public beach, and I look behind me. I'm just like, what could possibly going on in this like one horse town? Like next thing I know, I see a a pickup with sirens pull onto the beach. I see this guy get out. There's people on the beach waving to him, pointing in the water. You know, there's an area in the water that is roped off to obviously indicate like what is shallow, what is, or when it's really going to get deep in there, right? Um, and they keep pointing to an area. I see one guy on his knees. I'm like, oh shit, something really is going down here. So the first police officer that shows up winds up going to a neighbor's house that's directly next door to the public beach and commandeering a boat. And then another police officer shows up, and they're in that boat in that shallow water area circling. Next thing I know, here comes the fire department with their boat that launches. Paramedics are showing up. I see one paramedic. He comes down in all his gear and literally strips off all of his gear and goes in there in just his shirt and his pants, like wading in the water. Um, and I see the fire boats circling in the area. They're all looking, and next thing you know, one of the firefighters on the boat points to the water, and the dude like within 2 seconds looks at the other guy in the boat, goes like, take the wheel, and he dives in, and then he comes up with a body.
Oh,
Uh-huh. And they drag him onto the boat, bring him in, and you know it's like I'm far enough away that I'm not going to impede anything. I'm not going to be that guy, but I'm close enough that I'm like, no, that's a body. That's You can't deny what you just see. You got pulled up, you know. And they bring the guy on shore, and they immediately start CPR. And I would say probably within 10 minutes, you can definitely tell like by the urgency, like they're not as urgent. Suddenly there's more bodies standing in front of him. People aren't moving as fast to try and recover him per se. So you can definitely tell like he just got under there. He was under too long, you know. And so I told that story to my brother, and they were like looking at me going like we got back here, like what did you like get lost in the woods? Like, it's this pretty straight shot. And I told them about that and they're like, what the heck? I told the kids, I'm like, it's not going to affect you guys. It's, you just got to be safe in the water. And then, um, I think later that night we went to dinner, or we saw my other brother-in-law. I had mentioned that to him, and I think the next day or the day after when we had gone to breakfast, he said that he had looked it up, and he said it was just one of those things, like the guy was in the water just too long, and exhaustion took hold, and and then he just his body gave out in the water, and he just kind of got dragged under in
So
a
you're
weird way.
saying no one suspects you.
No, no, I'm scot-free.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it was very sad. I believe the article had said like the kid was like 19 years old. Like it's very sad. But I mean, like, yeah, Matt saw a dead body on vacation. So
Well, thanks for picking things up, buddy. It's a peppy, light.
hey, Mark. It's to you now, buddy.
Great.
Follow that. Actually, I'm very excited for your second point.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Oh, I just
Mark,
put
you
in
wanna
there to
pick-
mess with you,
you- you-
Kyle. I wasn't actually going to talk about that.
Aw.
Mark, you want to pick it up here?
I
I'll
mean,
go again if you want instead.
well, okay, first of all, can I just call foul on you, Kyle? Because I'm pretty sure your first bullet's not there to mess with me because I don't know half of those points. Half of the words in that sentence mean nothing to me.
Okay.
Anyway, no, I'll go. So, as part of heading down to Charlotte, Kyle had made a grand point that he had a podcast he quote had to have me listen to.
Random
And
points of exaggeration.
I'm
But-
just gonna hit mute on Kyle there. So he made sure he was very
Adamant.
adamant. Yeah, it was adamant. There you go. He was adamant that I give it a listen. Now, he was, to be fair, he did say, hey, look, man, if you really don't want to listen to this, you don't have to. I'm just saying, like, I think you'd enjoy it, and I enjoy it a lot. And, it's going to take up a good chunk of our drive anyway. So, like, let's go ahead and do it, if you would. So, I agreed to do that. And then, censor is wrong.
Is wrong.
Okay. Yeah, it is. It is. But so far I haven't told too many untruths. Anyway, I have to ask you to unmute. That's weird. There you go. Anywho, so this forgive me if I want to make sure I get this right. It is called The Wizard, the Witch, and oh my god, I'm gonna miss the last one.
It's also a W word.
Wardrobe?
No. It's the Wizard, the Witch, and the something one.
Warlock?
Wild
correct.
one. The Wild One.
Got it.
There you go. The Wizard, the Witch, and the Wild One. Who produces this? Is it Dimension 20 or?
No, it's their own separate thing.
Oh.
Their podcast is called Worlds Beyond Number. I'm not sure if it's got like an official like ownership name.
Okay. Worlds Beyond Number is the thing I was searching for. So anyway, it is a it's a live action D&D game that they produce as a podcast,
Well,
like a radio play.
Live action is used for people that are like actually acting it out too. I think the term they use is real play for
Real
stuff
play,
that's
sure.
like sit down at the table.
Yeah, it's basically people sitting over a Dungeons and Dragons game. You've got your dungeon master, you've got your players with their player sheets, and I don't really think there's no map, so it's all like in storytelling and roles, choose your own adventure kind of thing. And
Yeah.
I liken it to a radio play. Now, why would I not? Why would Kyle have to serve this up to me like I'm sure you're not going to like it? Admittedly, among the three of us, I am not a fan of swords and sorcery stuff. I'm just not. I watched all the Lord of the Ring movies. I've watched all the Harry Potter movies, and they're entertaining. I enjoyed all of them. funny gripes aside. But lay all of sci-fi and all its genres in front of me. Wizards and magic and knights and elder stuff falls towards the bottom for me. Just is. But to Kyle's point, we had time to burn, and this first episode was almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was around there.
Yeah, it's a lot of scene setting. Now, I will say this much. For my part, my other reason for not wanting to do this after I like looked it up on Spotify is I thought he was giving me a podcast, 2.5 hour
Oh,
epic quest movie thing I'm going to listen to and enjoy.
2.5 hours. We're gonna go into the dungeon of the Nightmare King and get the magic cup, and then we're done.
Right. No, this is like a 28 plus episode with each episode being a minimum of an hour. I checked.
Yes, that is true. I was gonna
This
say, I
is
thought you were gonna say minimum 2.5 hours. It's
no,
like, no,
it's
that
a
was a long intro, but that was
yeah, most of them run about 90 minutes. I did check. But that's a lot. And my problem with that is like, hey, I know you have a lot of things going on, but would you like to fully invest yourself into a completely chaotically overly detailed world?
it
And the
was a lot of
problem is
time
it's
spent.
good. It's actually very good. Okay, I'm a fan of the actor, writer, whatever you want to call him, Brandon Lee Mulligan or Brennan.
Brendan Lee Mulligan.
Brendan, is it Brendan or
Brendan
Brent?
with an E.
Okay, Brendan Lee Mulligan. He is on Dropout, and he was formerly of College Humor. He's a writer, podcaster, comedian, a million things. A regular multi-hyphenate, such as
Fun
myself.
story. Fun story. He self-published a comic book as well. Years ago, he had a book called Strong Female Protagonist.
Nice. Well, anyway, he's the game master, and I like him a lot. He's very funny, but I will say that in context, when you strip away the funny and it's, telling an epic adventure, it took some time for me to get used to the style of this podcast because for me personally, there is a cringe barrier that you have to accept because my time playing role-playing games, it was mostly like the dungeon master's trying to not tell a story. He's trying to make all of his friends have fun or interact or engage. This is almost, I want to say 80-20, at least in the beginning. I don't know how it changes, but it's about 80-20, 80%. You're just listening to a story. And then there's a couple of roles and there's a couple of things that happen. But by and large, I don't feel like the characters made any choices whatsoever in the first 3 episodes that we did listen to over the course of our driving that wouldn't have pretty much already happened because of the way the story itself was kind of flowing, which is
I
fine.
disagree. I disagree, but it's a fair point.
Certainly in the first episode, maybe less so in the next two. Order of operations or what they chose to do or not do, but you can't tell me that they weren't going to come upon one of the characters at the circus that was clearly going to be part of the plan.
Yes.
So things of that nature. Yes. But anyway, it is a good podcast. Okay. It's great. And my problem is, as much as I'm
going to go back once this podcast drops, I'm going to listen to that couple of seconds. I was going to ask you to say it again, but I don't have to. I'll be able to listen to it as many times as I want.
You go ahead. Make it your ringtone. And I'm even going to go so
Marc's
far as to say,
how do you tell? It's great. It's great. It's great.
I was even going to go so far as to say, like, you want to know the difference of Unshaven comics over the years, right? Mid-20s Marc would make Kyle pay. I would ensure that when we go to Baltimore, I had pulled up a 2.5 hour podcast that details Bryan Danielson's career from New Japan all the way to AEW.
I have a response for this, but okay.
Mid-20s Marc would have done that because same as I am not a fan of swords and sorcery, Kyle is not a big fan of professional wrestling. But I might have
You don't
found
say.
a 2.5 hour podcast about the rise and fall of Kurt Angle, the one wrestler I know that Kyle kind of sort of thought was fine. But
He is an Olympian.
that was mid 20s Mark, mid or early 40s Mark. I'd rather just listen to more episodes of this thing just so that I can continue it because I'll have no time between now and the next time we're in the car for 12 hours to listen to it.
Hey,
And
you
I
know what?
feel like they,
We can give Matt a quick primer, and then on the way to Baltimore, just say, "Okay, Matt, here you go. Get thrown in the deep end. Let's go."
oh, I think it would be I think Kyle would actually just could not wipe the smile from his face if we start at episode 4 where we left off and Matt just raises his hand every time he has a question and I have to answer the backstory.
That would be a dream. That would be an utter dream.
Better or
Uh,
worse than the Wendy extravaganza, Kyle?
ooh, I'll sleep on that one and let you know. Uh,
Okay.
Going back to your thing a moment ago, though, Mark,
Yeah.
as far as listening to podcasts, let's not act like this was the only podcast that played in the car.
Very
I
true.
did listen to what was close to, if not around, about 2 hours worth of NPR reporters talking about the Justice Building and its inner workings from the city of Cleveland. So you certainly threw one. You certainly did not come unprepared with your own listening entertainment here that I sat through and listened to along with you. I did not have as many questions about the majority of the far majority of Irish judges in the city like you did, but I did listen.
Very true. And I'll say that Kyle did dozed off way more coming than going. So as road partner. But yeah, that's all part of the Unshaven Comics road experience now. As we've detailed before, I have a few minor gripes for being a passenger in my car. Chief among them, stay awake. Secondly, don't doom scroll.
See, I think we're gonna have to make the trade on that, where that's gonna have to be the question of if you want me awake, I have to doom scroll at least a little bit.
I'm okay with doom scrolling so long as your sound is relegated to your own ears
Oh, I don't need sound. I just need stimuli.
and to not try to lead into the I'm sorry for all the people listening to this. This is going to be a visual gag. I cry foul and it grates me to my bones when I have to drive and have this next to me. Oh, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Because those of us driving can't participate in this while we see like half a titty just flaring on the screen.
I'm sorry.
It ain't you I'm talking about. All right, that was my second item.
Fair, fair,
Kyle, Kyle, do you
fair,
have a second
fair,
item?
fair. I'll take that criticism. I'll take that criticism all day possible. Also, I will throw out that I am more apt to stay awake uh if somebody's willing to share the driving privileges.
I got
So
maybe we'll find out. We'll figure it out.
moving on to the
Hmm.
next item. Uh, for those who were wondering, the buzzwords that Mark was saying that he did not recognize from mine, I'll do the other one next time. Uh, Bethesda wants to speed up their next Fallout game release, but it's not going to utilize Obsidian. Yeah, fall asleep, asshole. Uh, did I just blow our YouTube ranking?
No, no,
Yeah.
it's very hard to blow at number like
That's true.
7,000.
What are we going to get less views,
You
or
know,
the algorithm's going to
I
drive
am
less
honestly,
traffic to us?
I am
Anyway,
honestly shocked. I am not the one that has been swearing the most this time.
yeah, I'm a little shocked too. But yeah, but thanks to the popularity of Fallout on Amazon Prime, the series that's heading into season 2, Bethesda has reportedly seen huge spikes in sales for all of their games, and is making, there's been mention that they are going to speed up the release for the next one. For those who know, Bethesda took over starting with Fallout 3 and is responsible for Fallout 4. They used another company, Obsidian, to put out Fallout New Vegas, which came between the two. So it used, basically, it's like anytime a studio uses someone else, they basically gave them the same system, the same mechanics and templates to do everything, and then they just changed up and did their own story and created a new story in a different part of the country. So Fallout New Vegas is very much, there's large communities that consider it to be the most popular game, the most nuanced with best story, even compared to Fallout 4 that came out later. So there's been active calls for years for people saying, use them again, let them create more games for you. And after Fallout 76, which, is doing great now, but definitely came out to some problems as their online multiplayer game for Bethesda, there's been a lot of talk about why not, if you're desperate to get more games out there and strike while the iron is hot, why not use other studios like Obsidian or elsewhere to try to get more games out if you were concerned about it. So Bethesda's not doing that, considering there's been a lot of. Uh, I think it's a bad move. I mean, I understand they want to have it all in-house. I understand they're owned by Microsoft now, so that's probably playing a role too. And there's undoubtedly a dozen other factors behind the scenes that no one outside of them will ever know influencing the decision. But if you are looking for something like this that's had this past, that's been able to make these moves in the past, it seems surprising and it seems misguided not to use them again. So I'm not sure what the end game here is. We want more games. Okay, can you use outside contractors or studios to get those made? No, absolutely not. Why not? Well,
Well,
it seems
I'm trying to understand the perspective here. Are the fans generally angry that they're not using Obsidian?
angry that they're not. Because again, it's the whole,
Have they
we
announced
created a
who is
game in this
doing it?
universe and it was fine, but then we used this other studio and they made a better game in that universe. Oh, well, we'll acknowledge it, but we'll never let them do that again.
Oh, so they're saying Obsidian will never make another Fallout game?
Correct.
Oh, that does seem a little stupid.
Yes.
It
It's
But
seems a little. It seems a little vengeful. Like they're pissy that somebody else made something better than what they wanted to make.
I suppose like I would just be sitting back and saying like, why not? I mean, if they're a hit, why not publish or produce a couple of these things? I think like part of the charm of the Fallout universe is that, like you said, all the vaults offer the opportunity for different perspectives, different games, different styles. Like
exactly.
I'm like, why couldn't they just like blitzkrieg and just make a bunch more?
That's a great question. Uh, but for whatever reason, it hasn't happened that way because it kind of works. The way I always or looked at was like what happened with Grand Theft Auto. It's you had Grand Theft Auto 3, but then you also had Vice City and San Andreas, which were essentially the same system, same, just everything kind of reskinned before we saw the next big jump in Grand Theft Auto 4. It's having these other similar games. Yeah, they're not hugely different. The mechanics weren't greatly shifted or improved, but we got more stories. We got more games to play that were just as fun, if not better. But whatever.
All right.
So that is my little stance on what's happening with Bethesda and Fallout.
And I should say to anybody, by the way, this is also in the article, if anyone has any feedback or if they would like to join in the conversation and tell us about the last time you saw a dead body or listened to a podcast against your will or play Fallout, you should join us in a conversation on any of your boards. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. Leave us your comments and we will actually reply to you.
Okay, I wasn't going to say this, but you know what? I didn't tell you to play episode 3. We listened to episode 1 and 2 because I asked to, and then we were just in a lull in traffic, and Mark just casually put episode 3 on. I didn't say anything. I didn't ask him to. So he can blame this on me, but you know what? He's in now. He's in.
I was actually trying to make the point that I made you listen to the second episode of my tragic, sad, liberal Jewish guys podcast.
Is that the name of it? I didn't catch.
It's
Okay.
called Serial.
Probably it's probably it probably oh yeah, cereal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, you know it. But anywho, I would actually be curious to just go around the horn and let's make Matt's third all of our quick third before we round things out on this episode. So everyone, what is your summer jam that you are listening to on repeat in the heat?
Oh God. I have one, but I can't remember its name because it's a song that I saw on like a reel. That somebody had is like this is stuck in my head and it's awful, but I kind of like it and I can't stop thinking about it. And it didn't have a name, so this past Friday, the third time I ran into this damn song with no name, I this is how desperate I got. I literally downloaded a song identification app on my phone just to find out what it was called. And now it's not on my thing. So great. Great. I've apparently lost it. Great.
Well,
No, no.
that was some great content, Kyle. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. I'm glad you found that song and we'll never know what it is.
I'm going through my history because it's there. I will find it. One of you talk until I find it.
Matt, what is your summer jam?
Oh, there you go.
Or
Honestly, it's I've been going into his discography here. Noah Khan. I like this one song, Dial Drunk. Um, and like his one album, his latest album, Stick Season, like they've been cracking that open, and like I've been not to sound hipsterish, but I liked this one song, and then I went on Spotify and I'm like listening to the rest of it, I'm like, man, this is really good. And then it just kind of rabbit holed from there, and I was like, I've been going into his other albums, and each of them has a little bit of a different flavor, but mostly a solid folky sound through line through them. But I've been really digging it. The other one is I just forgot the name of the guy, which is terrible. But you'd see it, the song being played at the back of like reels. It's like when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it, and I was just like, okay, that's a cute song. That's got to be like a clip of like, or somebody must have done that on YouTube. But no, it's an actual legit song, and it's been playing here in Chicago for a minute or so, and I have to say it's come up in some very poignant times recently. One being that we just went to a restaurant called Lady Gregory's up in Uptown for a belated dinner for my lovely wife for her birthday. So we took all the kids, and GPS took me through Lakeshore Drive for some ungodly reason to reach this restaurant. And I just got to say, like, the kids it was a beautiful day. We're driving on LSD and rounding the bend, and the beach is beautiful. The lake is beautiful. Everything's real nice. And that song comes on, and I'm just like, talk about, you know, when I'm back in Chicago, I feel it's just like, woo, right there in the feels. So it was good.
Kyle, did you find it?
I did not, but I'm just going to talk about the other one. I'm going to talk about the other song that I've been listening to a lot that came from a game that came out over a decade ago. Um, so yeah, I played Red Dead Redemption, the first one. I'd completed two like the second time around, and I got myself an old copy of Red Dead Redemption 1, which actually happens after the events of 2. So it was nice to follow that up. And both games have this wonderful process or this wonderful habit of going, and when you get to a point where it's like you're just gonna be riding your horse for a while, so let's kick up some live music where it'll be like a sad, solemn song sung by somebody who sounds like they're sitting in an old place just listening. And yeah, there's a song called My Comp or called Compass, where it's very sorrowful. It's at the end of the game. Spoilers. It's when the main character is finally getting back to his wife, who he's been fighting and killing people and arresting his old friends. And it's when he finally gets back to her. It's the song that's played on the long horse ride back to your ranch to finally see John's wife Abigail, who features much bigger into the original game. But it's an immensely sweet song, and I don't have the information for it in front of me, but that I've been listening to that over and over again. So, because I just cannot stop spiraling into depression music.
Well, I'll take a riff off of that. My summer jam is Doomsday by Lizzie McAlpine, who is a carbon copy of insert any other tragic white girl who sings very softly here. I tripped over it because I, on occasion, have like a YouTube mix that plays tracks. I don't even know why I keep it, but sometimes I like a visual while I'm doing other stuff. And I had Taylor Swift and in the mix, and then it's like, well, here's Taylor. Yeah, here's Tay Tay, and here's Haim, and here's Phoebe Bridgers and Boy Genius, and like all of these tragic, hip, lonely white girls. And then here comes this Lizzie McAlpine Doomsday, and the video is really well, like the cinematography is beautiful. It's an interested. The song is very compelling, and yeah, I don't know the first thing about it. I think it was in some kind of television show. I shared with a coworker that I was listening to it, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's part of the show. You have to watch the show." And I was like, "If the show's anything like the lyrics of the song, I absolutely don't want to watch the show." Um, I enjoy the music, and I enjoy like it is, if I was a 17-year-old girl, that would be my whole world, that song. But I'm like, I just enjoy it for what it is. And she's trying to explain to me about like the girl is like haunted by ghosts in a high school, but they're all like ex-boyfriendy type ghosts, not
Oh
like
my God, I've seen the trailer for that too. I know exactly. It's called like School Spirit or something.
that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh.
It is. It is.
Oh.
I know. I feel terrible.
Yeah, they got like
And
a support group or something.
I don't know. I don't know. I
Really? That's
just
the name of it.
Yeah, School Spirit.
yeah.
I'm 90% sure.
Brother
No, I'm
Id.
100% sure that's what it is.
What is that? Brother Id.
What's up, brother? So, anywho, yeah, that would be my summer jam. Also, if you guys remember Gautier, that guy, someone that I used to know,
Someone I used to know. Yeah.
my
Yeah.
cousin called me. We were catching up, and he's like, "You need to go find this song by him." And I was like, "I don't really like someone that I used to know." He's like, "Don't even worry about it. You won't even know it's the same guy." And he's right. And whatever the name of the track is, it's very good. And it's up my alley in that the last like 4 minutes of the 8-minute song is just pure weird noise. And
I did look mine up. Song that I was talking about from Red Dead Redemption 1, Compass by Jamie Liddell.
Okay.
Just getting the
Cool.
name out there instead of just babbling what I think it was about in, vagueness. So that I'd have specifics.
All right, well, that works. Everybody, listen to your favorite sad sack song, be it folk music that calls up to Chicago, whether it's the sad song after you've slain a bunch of people in the wild, wild west as you come home to your wife because you love her so much, or if you're a tragic 17-year-old girl just trying to find love. Listen to those things and realize that, yes, 42-year-old men are listening to that crap. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Unshaven Rant-Cast. I've been your host, Marc Allen Fishman, joined by 42-year-old Matt Wright.
Hey.
And 42-year-old Kyle Nepper.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Be sure to like us on Facebook and our Instagram page. Leave a 5-star review on whatever app you found us. Make sure you tag me and bring somebody on to the podcast. If you do that, I will draw you your own Pokemashup. Just ask. It'll happen. You make the proof, I make the pudding. The pudding is a Pokemon. Sounded right?
I get what you're going
Could
for.
the Pokemon be a pudding cup?
I could put the Pokemon in a pudding cup if it was Ditto.
No. I want the Pokemon to be the pudding cup.
I could do that. I could do anything. any Pokemon you can imagine, whatever your
And then just
fever.
have Bill Cosby behind it.
See, I'll draw whatever you tell me to, but I've got limits.
So there is a Pokemon that looks like it's made out of pudding. Milcery. Milcery.
I'll have
It
to
looks
look it
like
up.
it's made out of frosting and strawberries.
That's wonderful. All
Pudding
right.
cup.
Let me draw your paralysis demon as I did with Unshaven fan River, who confirmed to me that my most recent Bell what was it? What did I call him? Sponge Bell Square Sprout. She said is definitely their paralysis demon, and I can't
Good job.
apologize.
Good job.
Can't apologize enough. So
Good job.
that's
Way to
it
go.
for us. Shall we just do what we always do at the end of these podcasts and just butcher our catchphrase?
Here we go.
Strap in.
Here we go, people. Here we go.
Gonna get it.
And as always, stay
Stay
unshaven.
unshaven. Now you're just doing it on purpose.
It may just be a delay that you guys hear me and then you guys pop in. Maybe I should wait for you.
Like we've done hand signals. Like
Okay.
it doesn't matter. It's like there. It's
We'll
you
do
keep
it at
telling me
Baltimore.
like when I
We'll do it at
when I
Baltimore.
speak like you
Right?
right. Okay. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna count it off.
Okay. You
Okay.
got to put more of your hands in there because all I'm seeing is like it's like
You-
this
You
much.
got it?
Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure you
There
can
we
see
go.
it.
There we go.
We'll make sure.
Yeah, I can see. I can read between the lines.
Good. Here we go. We're gonna try it. Okay. And as always, stay
unshaven.
unshaven. That
See,
was-
you went slow. You went slower, but
I was kind of waiting for
Yeah.
Kyle to talk, but we'll just do it live in Baltimore. It's gonna happen.
we got to remember to do it. We got to
remember.
We got it.
Stupid video game stick. All right, I'm gonna hit this. Where is that? I can't.
Tech romancer.
Oh, there it is.